Sporting Dog Adventures, run boy
That
run.
was awesome.
Everything you
Good
need
boy,
is
here.
here under the sun. Everything you need is here under the sun.
Hey, welcome to the Sporting Dog Adventures podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Fuller, and we have a fun show today that will be about the colors of Labrador Retrievers and do they matter? We will talk about an upcoming stud dog that we have that's kind of exciting for people that have been following us, through the start of our kennel, TV show till now. And then finally, I wanted to talk about a fun hunt that I've done here in the past that comes to memory with my kids. So first up, we want to thank our sponsors, Boucher Automotive. They ride with you every mile. I've bought now 7 vehicles from Boucher. They are a wonderful company to work with. We also want to thank Mech Outdoors. Mech has shot shell and metallic reloaders. They have throwers. They just have an all-around great product for the shooting enthusiast so that you can continue shooting. You can do it at a cheaper pace, and it's really fun to do the reloading yourself. And also, you can make your rounds more efficient once you really dial it in. And lastly, we want to thank Soggy Acres Retrievers. We have been in business now since 1998. Gosh, that's over 25 years. We sell black, yellow, and chocolate Labrador Retrievers, and it is our privilege to provide puppies for people for the field, as well as companions and best friends. So with that said, let's talk about the colors of Labrador Retrievers. Now, when we talk about Labrador Retrievers, there are 3 recognized colors: black, yellow, chocolate. You will hear about other designer colors, and without getting into politics, I will just say they aren't recognized by the club. We do not breed them, and you should stay away from them. That is if you're looking for that purebred dog. You can look up information. You can find out the points of why they are not purebred, and that gets into the whole when the Labrador Retriever breed was made, how it was made, how it was designed, all that good stuff. But when it comes down to it, you look at, if you're looking for a classically bred Labrador Retriever, your lines are black, yellow, or chocolate. And you will hear wives' tales about many things with color. First, you'll hear that, yes, there have been colors like champagne and silver. There weren't when the breed was founded. There is great evidence that other breeds were put into the Labrador lines to get those colors. Again, not going to get into the politics of it. I could try to explain it to people. You would have what seems like the process in our world now is that if someone has something and they want to argue about it, they won't listen anyway. So we're not going to argue about that. They're facts. And then you will get into the colors of yellow, which ranges anywhere from a white to a fox red color. It's just a coat variation, darker or lighter. You have chocolate, and then you have black. Now, traditionally, you will hear that your best Labrador Retriever to own is a black lab. Why is that? Well, blacks are your dominant color. That is the color that, let's say dominant is black, yellow, and chocolate are recessives, which means both parents need to carry a recessive color for that color to be shown up in puppies. And when you look at it, it's interesting because I've been doing this now for 25 years, and I wanted to have different chocolate lines. Chocolate is my favorite. I wanted to have different lines. And I wanted to breed my lines so that I would have stronger lines, because the stronger lines were black and yellow, well over chocolate when I started. So I have several times where I've bred a black to a chocolate and had all black puppies. But when you breed a black to a chocolate, the puppies will then be black puppies and carry that chocolate color as recessive if the mother or father that was black did not carry chocolate. I have also bred yellows to chocolates. And if neither carried yellow, if both parents didn't carry yellow and chocolate, you would have an all black litter that now had three colors. It now was the black dominant color, and the yellow and chocolate recessives were with those puppies. So within a couple of generations, you can actually have a color that has a pedigree that no one's seen, which is kind of cool. And when we think of generations, we think of it as people. You think of it with people, you humanize everything. And when we think of people, generations are decades. Well, with dogs, you could have three generations in as early as, probably 6 years, 7 years. So if you have a breeding program where you're thinking about, I want to breed for X and I want to have these colors, those colors, that color, you can have those in your lines. You can breed for certain pedigrees to be in your lines. You just have to have a little forthright or a little foresight in it, so that you can plan that out into the future. And again, it doesn't take that overly long. Now, it's the time of year where we get a lot of calls, and I will get the calls of my dog. I want a dog, but I've heard chocolates are dumb. That's a common one. Gosh, I still hear it. And the thought process behind that was, when I first got my first chocolate, they were bred primarily for color. People didn't breed for pedigree. There weren't many chocolates that were master hunters, field champions, hunter retriever champions. That has come a long ways in 25 years. I've had several chocolate males that were master hunters, that were hunter retriever champions, that were dogs with great pedigrees that ran well in the field. Another one I've heard, that blacks are dominant in their behavior. I think that one is something where people get the color dominance a little confused with dominance actual in their behavior. The black color is not a dog that's going to act dominant. That's the dominant color. And the other one that I've honestly heard a lot is that yellows are hyper. That also, it doesn't have anything to do with the coat color of a dog. Again, it comes down to what the breeder breeds for, what the breeding program and philosophy is for the kennel that you're working with, so that you then can look at that. You can look at parents, you can look at pedigrees, and honestly, you don't need to worry about color. In my opinion, some of my strongest lines are chocolates. Again, my favorite color is chocolate. We've got some yellow lines that we just started now because we weren't happy with where our yellow lines were in the past. And we've got really strong yellow lines, and we've always had solid black lines. It is something where we put out a consistent puppy, regardless of color, that will be a great pet, that will be highly trainable, that has wonderful drives, natural abilities, and a good temperament. And that has nothing to do with the color, the coat color of the dog. That is our professionalism and how we've designed our lines so that we have that, so that we know we're giving out, or we're providing our clients with something that is going to have what they're looking for in a dog. We'll get calls where it's, well, do you have any lines that are better for pets or better for hunting? And my answer is always, our lines are all very similar in their ability. And the reason that they are is because if they were not that way, we wouldn't breed them. We've had many dogs that we've removed from a breeding program. We do at least one a year where we look at it and we go, you know what? That dog is not what we want to breed, so we never breed them. We've got other dogs that have small litters. We've had dogs that have had health issues that have popped up and didn't breed them because of those issues when you went to get everything cleared. It's making sure as a dog breeder and as a business that you're putting out something that's consistent, and that's what we do. So when you look at that, look at your pedigree, make sure you're getting a solid pedigree. Check on temperaments, ask how the dogs are as house dogs. If they've never been in a house, it's fairly hard to say that a dog has a great temperament. And then lastly, it is finding someone that runs a good business, has a good health guarantee, and then you look at the colors that are available. It's usually not a long wait in the big scheme of things to wait for the color dog that you want. So when people contact me, I always tell them, you're going to have the dog for 10 to 15 years. Don't be so caught up on timing. Get what you want. Everyone has that perfect dog they see in their minds and that they want. And it is something that when you think of it on that note, that you're going to have this animal as your companion for hopefully 15 years, your timing, whether a month or 6 months, is not as important. So that's it for this part of the show. Next up, I want to talk about a dog that we are going to have soon, a puppy in the house. And that is out of our dog, Rommel. Rommel's been gone for a few years. Rommel's a dog that he and I, my goodness, we had a TV show that was the top rated wing shooting show in the world. We were on all over the world, and we had some frozen semen from Rommel. We took a female line, we bred it several dogs into it so that we had exactly what we wanted. And now we've had a litter. It is a trifactored litter, so we get all three colors in that litter. We're keeping a black male that will throw all three colors. We will pick him out probably in about 4 weeks, and we'll have him in the house, and he will be hitting the field with us this fall. So that's an exciting part that we get to talk about next, as well as a fun hunt that I had with my kids in the past in the last part of the show. All that and more coming up after this. Hey, welcome back to the show. So now we want to talk about the really cool topic of our next stud dog, which is a male puppy out of my past great dog, Rommel. His name is going to be Soggy Acres Stonewall Brigade. Jackson will be his call name. So Jackson is in the kennel right now. Now, we don't have Jackson picked out because there are 2 black males. So we're waiting until they get older. And at that point, we will pick. But Jackson is going to be our future stud dog within about 2 years, assuming he passes all of his health clearances. And he will be a fun dog that we were going to have from, I guess, our blast from a past with Rommel. It is really cool doing dog breeding. It is far more than putting 2 dogs together. There can be so much science involved. And with this litter, we actually took a frozen semen collection that we had from probably, 15 years ago, used it in a female that we have been working toward having the female to breed to this frozen semen collection. And now we have this litter, and we will have our future stud dog. The fun part is the female that we bred to is out of my girl, Memphis. That's one of my house dogs. It's her daughter. And we will get to see the idiosyncrasies of this dog in comparison to his dad, as well as the line that he came up from on the mom's side. So it's fun because dogs, like people, they have their little things that you see. And it is so unique and so fun. And it's part of the cool part about being in dog breeding, to have something like this and to work toward it as, I guess, the common good of the future kennel. So Jackson will be available for stud in about 2 years, which is a long time. But we will have yearly updates, probably seasonal updates on Jackson, on his training and how he's doing, so that people can follow his, I guess, ascent to the king of the Soggy Acres kennel. So that's it for this part of the show. Next up, I want to talk about a waterfowl show trip that I did with my kids. We went to Louisiana. We were at the Vanishing Paradise group, and we learned all about the marsh and how we can restore it down there. It was educational. I think it was one of the greatest shows we did, and it was also, as a dad, I guess, hard to look back on now, having lost 2 of my boys, but I had all 3 of my kids there and got to enjoy it with them and teach them something that, I guess, in turn taught me so much. So I hope this part of the show upcoming really touches you. So stay tuned for that coming up after this. Hey, welcome back to the show. Last part of the show, I wanted to talk about a fun trip that I got to do with my kids when we went down to uh, Louisiana. We hunted basically on the tip of land right at the Gulf for teal, and we went with the Vanishing Paradise group. It was a trip that, my gosh, it's something where it's always remember the fun trips, take lots of pictures. I'm very blessed that we had the TV show, so I have these memories someday to look back on. But do things with your kids because you never know when things change, and they're memories that I wouldn't trade for the world. Having my kids along down on the Gulf Coast was just phenomenal. We teal hunted. My kids were basically too small to hunt. I think Clayton shot a couple of times, but he didn't hit any birds. But they were along. They got to talk with the people from Vanishing Paradise about how the BP oil spill was degrading the delta, how it could be stopped, and then how we could change how the Mississippi River was flowing to build new delta so that we could not only protect what was being damaged, but make it expand. And we teal hunted, we redfished, we went so many places. I remember one of the things that stuck out to me was we were out red fishing and the GPS showed land. It was all water. And this was all because of the erosion of the delta. It was so interesting watching this trip and learning about this conservation, this epic conservation issue of our generation through my kids' eyes, as you could see that they understood. They saw it, and as kids, they wanted to know, how do we change things? It was an episode that I will always remember. It's a fond memory as a father that I have with my kids, and it is something that I hope people realize the importance of the Mississippi River Delta. Learn about the issue, learn about how we can still make improvements to how the sediment goes down the river, how it can create new delta. It was something that opened my eyes to it. We actually went to Congress and lobbied for the group. And again, this was a fond memory I have of my kids that I will never forget. I did wreck a rental car when we were going to the airport too when I got in an accident, but that probably wasn't the greatest part of the trip. But overall, it was such a wonderful trip that I hope more people still look at. And I hope even if you watched the episode or hear me explaining it here, I hope it drives you to do more things with your kids so you have these wonderful memories. That's it for this week's show. I hope everyone enjoyed our show today. And we want to absolutely thank you and thank our sponsors for being here and for making this possible. I hope everyone has a great week. God bless.
Sporting dog adventures, run, boy, run. Everything you need is here.